guys, today I'm reviewing Franny and Zooey by J.D. Salinger. J.D. Salinger is the author that wrote The Catcher in the Rye, which is one of my all-time favourite books, and it's a total classic. This one is a short story called Franny and a novella called Zooey. I thought it was Zoe, but it's a male character, so I'm just going to go with Zooey. Franny and Zooey are brother and sister. They live in a family with 7 children and they're the 2 youngest. So Franny is the youngest, Zooey is the second youngest. In the short story, Franny, she's a college student and she meets up with her boyfriend Lane, and it's kind of just their conversation that they have. Franny's going through a bit of an existential crisis. Zooey follows on from that. It's based in their parents' home in Manhattan, and Franny's come home to have her existential crisis and Zooey's trying to give her some advice. So first of all, stating the obvious, but J.D. Salinger's writing is really beautiful. It's exactly what I would have expected having read The Catcher in the Rye. His prose just captures feelings, like the way the characters feel, but he does it in a really unique way. So he can kind of describe how someone's feeling through their movements or through, you know, just describing a room or something like that. It's really brilliant. His dialogue is also really flawless. Each character has their own really distinct way of speaking, and I really like that. It makes them stand out. The characters themselves are also very unique. There's Franny, who's having her existential crisis, Zooey being her like slightly older brother. He's actually very funny. He's witty and sarcastic, but also pretty wise. Then you have their mother Bessie, who is kind of your typical mother. She's a bit meddlesome. She really wants to help her children, but she's only sort of willing to consider practical ways like ensuring that they eat a decent meal and use the right kind of toothpaste. She's very like surface level. I could especially relate to the character of Franny and her little crisis that she's going through, just sort of overthinking everything about life, and because of that she's snapping at everyone and she values knowledge above everything else, which leads her to kind of criticizing everyone for being phonies, which is reminiscent, of course, of The Catcher in the Rye. If you've read that, you know what I mean. J.D. Salinger seems to like calling everyone phonies. All of those things kind of make her feel, she describes it as feeling a bit funny, or she feels like she's going crazy. She sort of has to keep apologizing to people for being weird. So she's like, I'm sorry, I'll get over this. No, it'll pass. I'm sorry for being so weird. I know how feeling like that, where you're kind of overthinking life, can make you feel really mentally and physically sick. The flip side of that is I love as well the advice that she's given, especially by Zooey. Kind of one of the things he says is how too much knowledge can corrupt you. There's a child referenced in the book, I won't spoil it, but just kind of how not ignorance is bliss, but like just to be more open-minded, I guess. And also about needing to turn inward to recognize that maybe you're the one with the problem, it's not the whole world. That reminds me of a quote I read recently. I can't remember what it was in, and I really wish I could. I hope I wrote it down. I don't know if I did, but it was something about being upset with the world, but then being even more disgusted when you realize that it's actually within yourself. It's not an outward thing that's the problem. So yeah, about needing to turn inward to recognize that you can resolve things for yourself. And also just one other thing that was mentioned was how important it is to love everyone despite their flaws. So you can hate what people represent, but you shouldn't hate them personally. There's a lot of references in this book to religion, and I think if religion teaches us anything, it's that we should love everyone in the same way that, for example, Jesus loves all of his children despite their sins. There are many big ideas and concepts discussed at length in this book, including, like I said, religion, knowledge, art, beauty. There's talk of psychoanalysis, which J.D. Salinger hated, ego, and the idea of who you are inwardly versus who you are outwardly, and how often that's conflicting. So there's heaps of big ideas discussed in this, and I feel like that's kind of what the whole thing is. It's just a big discussion of ideas, which I love. I'm also a sucker for stories within stories, and across this short story and novella there are letters, poems, quotes, stories, prayers, scripts, and dreams. So there's a whole lot of different things included in this book, and I love it. As expected, I absolutely loved it. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, so I highly recommend it to everyone. I also recommend The Catcher in the Rye. Obviously, if you haven't read that one yet, you probably should. I just like how it's very much a philosophical discussion, which I really love. And yeah, that's all I can kind of say about it. Thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope it was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've read it, or even if you just have some thoughts about the things I mentioned in this book, leave it in the comments below, because this is a great book to lead to a lot of deep and meaningful discussion. If you haven't subscribed already, do so if you like. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and as usual, my Goodreads account if you want to see me review books as soon as I finish reading them. That's where I review books first, so you can follow me there. Also Instagram and Twitter if you're interested. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will see you with my next one. Bye.